Okay, yep.
And they focus or discussed and guide new trends in the arts, especially in music and drama. So they like to create new things. They like to create new things, and then Arcadian Academy didn't like that so much, or they focus more on turning things like the original old style way.
Well, really? Or I mean, I feel like the Florentine Camerata, they were trying to recreate Greek tragedy, right?
Yeah.
So it's sort of, in some ways, I feel like there's some similarities in like they're trying to go back to an older style.
The Florentine?
Yeah. I mean, the Florentine Camerata was trying to recreate the old Greek tragedy. So in a way, they were both trying to achieve sort of a older, pure, what they considered a purer style of things going on. But yeah, there's some good observations there. What else do you got?
I found that for the Arcadian Academy, they thought that the ancient Greek region of Arcadia was ideal. So they thought that the idea of simple life was what they wanted. They thought back to like shepherds.
Simple life?
Simple life. So they wanted to incorporate that into the music. They wanted an environment where music and anything in the arts could flourish, like just out of the simpleness.
Ah, the simpleness. What do the simple folk do? Right. I was going to ask you, Arcadia, where is that? That's like west of here off the 210, right? Yeah.
It's a regional unit of Greece.
A region of Greece. Okay, very good. There was a particular philosopher that they really got into. Did you happen to pick that up? Well, let's think about our knowledge of Greek philosophers. Think about like big Greek scholars, philosophers that you've heard of before. Yeah, we got Socrates, Aristotle, and Plato, right? Well, they were big into Aristotle. So and Aristotle, remember, he created the Lyceum, which studied all sorts of things. He was very much into philosophy and logic, but he also was into art and nature and sort of what we call now the Renaissance man, right? Who's good at everything. So they were really interested in the total art, nature, everything coming together. Good. You got anything else for me, or is that where you finished? Okay. Very good. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Excellent. Good. All right. So let's talk a little opera seria. An opera seria is a style that also, hello, be good to me. Crash, bang, boom. So at this time you had two types of opera that were coming about. You had the opera seria, which means serious opera, not serial opera, or anything like that. And then an opera called opera buffa, or I like to say buffa. Right? And so what do you suppose buffa would be? Comic, right? That's where we get the term buffoon. And those would actually go in between the acts of the serious operas. So let me blow this up for you a little bit. Kaboom, right? So you can read it better. So this became a situation. What we started having in this time is where the librettos became almost more important than the music. Where was the librettos are, you recall? What is the libretto? Right, it's the text, right? It's the actual book, meaning libretto, meaning little book, right? It's the book. And actually what would happen is these libretti, that's the plural of libretto, these libretti would be reset many times. So the text would end up being more used than the actual music. And the favorite of the time were Apostolo Zeno, well, we like that. And then my favorite name, Pietro Metastasio. And he was a poet for the Habsburg court. And where were the Habsburgs based out of? Remember the Habsburgs? Well, I guess we're still early. The Habsburgs really come more into importance in the classical period. They're the ruling family in Vienna and in Austria-Hungary. Hello, gentlemen. Hi. So he's working over there more in the eastern part of Europe. Okay? The text is simple continuo accompanied recitative. Continuo being, what's that? Say it loud so I can hear it. I still don't hear you. The figured bass line, right? You have the bass with the figures. Excellent. Okay, good. As opposed to some of the accompaniment, they actually add more instruments. So the simple recitative, semplice. Wow, that's easy, right? Simple. And remember, in Italian, the C is hard. So it's semplice, not like in Spanish, where the semplice. And then we have the accompanied recitativo. Okay? And these are only for major dramatic effect. They used Italian texts, even though this is being done all over the world, and particularly in London. But it was international. They brought composers, audiences from all over the world, except for France. Because the French have their own thing, and you know the French and the English just don't get along. They haven't been getting along for thousands of years, right? So remember, the French operas are like 5 acts and all this, and dancing. And remember, we don't. The emperor does not want ballet in his opera, right? Yes, we don't do that, even though that's later on, but still the same idea. So, you know, the French just want to be their own thing. They don't want to go along with it. Okay? So, a couple of the things that are really important in this. The da capo aria, we've talked about that before, right? That's a, what type of form? Ternary form, A-B-A. Excellent. Okay? The aria is placed for the virtuoso singer to show off. And in this time period, these roles were sung by castrati. And we'll get into that another day, okay, because I have some other things I need to get through today. But needless to say, they were men who had been altered as children, so they would have higher voice, keep their high voice. But they had very powerful voices, and they were like the first rock stars of their era, believe it or not. They were massive, okay? So most of the time, all these high roles would be written for men. Sometimes we call that a pants role. Okay. So not a whole lot of ensemble stuff. It's mostly arias and recitatives, maybe a little bit of chorus, but not a ton. And then there's an overture, and then the rest of it is mostly the orchestra just sort of backs everything up. Okay. All right. We've talked about the libretti. Okay, that's fine. We don't need the bottom of that. It's all run together, but I already mentioned it before. Okay. 18th century, greatest importance and influence of the librettists. And we talked about Metastasio. He was, his libretti were set many, many times. And by the way, this is the coat of arms of the Arcadian Academy. Ooh, fancy. Pipes of Pan, right? And satyrs. You know what satyrs are? Sort of half goat, half man. Like Mr. Tumnus. Okay, we're going to skip over Mr. Castrato here. All right, so we're going to look at a little Handel opera called Giulio Cesare. And I have my Giulio Cesare group over here. And you guys are up. I have the recording in here for you, but I'll help you get to it. So let's have at it there, guys. Let's do a little score analyses.
Which is like one year. Cool.
Okay, so first maybe you want to tell them where we are.
Page 845.
Yes, 45.
835?
835 is the beginning of the score, yeah.
Oh, 835. That was on the next one.
That's all right. That is the next one, Zao. Not to be confused with the other Zao. Zao. My voice is gone. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, Giulio was a very famous composer in London, as we mentioned.
Julia?
Ju-
Handel.
Handel.
Yeah.
Oh my.
It's all right. I know.
Yeah, Julius is it, yeah.
Julia's a character.
Yeah,
He's
yeah, my
an
bad.
emperor.
Handel, yeah, is a very important composer. Mainly, he worked mainly in London, although, as we mentioned, he was from Germany. And Giulio is one of his most favorite, important operas that he composed.
Look at them. You don't have to look at me.
Perfect. And this opera is about Giulio and Cleopatra. That's
Mm-hmm.
the pronunciation?
Yeah, Cleopatra.
Uh-huh. And she was the second pharaoh, if I can say that, although she's a woman, with her brother. And Giulio happens to come to them, and she falls in love with him. And she wants to seduce him, but in a way that is not very obvious.
You know, why does she not want to be obvious?
She doesn't want to be seen for who she is, so she disguises herself as.
Yeah. She doesn't want to be seen as weak, right? Because, you know,
Right.
she's the queen, right? So you can't, you know, she has to be the person in charge.
As her handmaiden.
Yeah, she doesn't want to just throw herself at him because that would be unseemly. A queen, especially. What's that?
It's like Star Wars.
Like Star Wars.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. That's a great observation. Is because
Yeah.
these stories are timeless. They exist in all centuries and generations. It's the same thing. What's that?
Even in a galaxy far, far away.
Even in a galaxy far, far away. Yeah. These themes are universal. That's why these stories and these operas why they endure, because the story is it's always relevant, even if it's an old story. They're always relevant. Sorry, I interrupted you, but please keep going.
So that's basically the background of the story.
Who's Julius Caesar, by the way?
Yeah, Julius Caesar. You know, like at Tu Brute.
Yeah.
So it's fictitious. Yes. Or is it historical?
It's historical.
Okay. It's historical. Just wanted to clarify. So if we want to talk about the elements of the opera.
Yes, please do.
Okay, so there's dialogue going on between characters in the recitative. It's accompanied by a continuo.
Okay, this is the first one, right?
Yes.
On page 835? Yeah.
Yes, yeah. And then the second one is Da Capo aria, and there's an introduction made by the orchestra.
Where is that? Where is the Da Capo aria?
Page. Yeah, well, it starts on 836 at the bottom.
Sort of, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So actually, let's just deal with the first recitative here. And what's going on?
It's just dialogue, really, because harmonically, it's not much going on. They're just talking, so it's just trying to get
Right.
all the dialogue out.
Mm-hmm. And as you mentioned, the accompaniment is just continuo. There's no extra instruments. But what is the dialogue that's happening? Who are the two players?
You know,